Hi, it's Ijoma Chinonso here. Welcome to my channel. If you're a new subscriber, thank you for tuning in and joining the family. And if you're an old subscriber, thank you for always returning to my videos, irrespective of my unfaithfulness. Thank you once more. I really appreciate that. So over time, I've been getting requests and questions on different platforms on how my movement to Czech Republic was, and over a series of videos I'll be documenting from when I decided I was going to move to Czech Republic to the point where I picked my school, picked my course, went ahead with the whole process. So the video is going to be in series, and I would love to carry you all along. Whatever questions you have to ask, feel free to drop in the comment section or send me an email at ijomaemmanuel@gmail.com. Thank you very, very much. So on the next videos, I'll be documenting stories on how I moved from Nigeria to this point, and also I'll be reaching out to other individuals so they could as well share their stories as well. Once more, thank you for always tuning in. So just to put this disclaimer out, I am not a consultant, an agent, or neither do I represent any brand that is into admission processing. I'm just Ijoma Chinonso, a jolly good fellow who just wants to pass out information that you can find out there on Google, different websites, or even YouTube, or in your school you decide to apply to. I am just here just to pass out information and to grow my YouTube channel. So that being said, we'll move on to the main gist. Now, you can study for your bachelor's, you can as well study for your master's, you can also study for your PhD, and not to forget, you can as well study for your language course, which is more like a preparatory course to actually study in Czech Republic. Yeah, so you can do these things, and different schools have their different procedures for doing them. I study in Prague, in one of the schools in Prague. So my school would definitely have different admission process for another school in Ostrava, another school um, in Brno. Different cities have different schools in different cities have. So just putting this out there. So it is now at your own convenience that I would encourage you actually research your school for their different admission process. Now, the first thing you want to do is decide on your course. If you're coming with for a bachelor's degree, you decide on the course you want to go for. Now, it being bachelor's degree, we all know that while we left secondary school, we had a particular course in mind that we wish to study. So if you're coming for bachelor, I would encourage you to be a little bit more open-minded, because you might not, just in case you don't find a particular course that you intend studying, you can as well branch out to a course that has same relevance or is related to that particular course that you wish to study. And maybe for your masters, you might decide to, still do that particular course. I'm just saying, because so you just don't be all rigid about it. Yeah. So you decide on the course you want to go for, and in helping you to decide, I'll put a link of a website, studying.cz. So they have a lot of catalog concerning different schools and so many information about that. So after you decide on that, you now choose a school. and what city your school is. That's having in mind what city your school is, because it should only make sense that you know the city your school is, because it affects you a whole lot. Talking about your kind of personality, and also owing to the fact that it is not an English speaking country. So I would encourage you actually decide on a city you want your school to be in, because it's an important factor, and it would really go a long way to help. So you decide on the city and you decide on your school. I studied in Prague, the biggest cities here, and cities that have more student population: Prague, Brno, Ostrava, not the likes of it. Yeah, so you just do your research and be sure about what you want. So what suits me might not suit you. So on that fact, then you check your school's requirements. Different schools have their different requirements. So I would encourage you to check your school requirements. For my school, the requirements isn't that extreme. If you're coming from an English speaking country, you should be able to speak English as as you will be learning in English if you decide to go for an English speaking course. But otherwise, you in some schools you might be required to go through some IELT requirements or submit a certificate that testifies that yes, you were actually taught in English in either your secondary school, in high school, or in your bachelor's or your master's. So you decide on which you want to go for depending on what school you are going for. So that being said, then the admission procedure, just like the requirements for different schools are different, admission procedures are actually different too. Some school would require that you do an online test, while some school all you need to do is pay the processing fee, which is not refundable for most schools. I believe maybe 90% of the schools are not refundable. Talking about the processing fee. So you decide on that. I always say decide because, of course, you have to decide. So admission procedure for different schools differ according to their administration. So you go through that, you know this, you understand this perfectly, and you move on with it because it is extremely important. Then some school, my school would request that you send your documents over so they verify. That is after your admission process. So once you scale through that, you send your documents over. Now for individuals going for their bachelor's degree, your major document here is your B WAEC certificate, GC certificate. Yeah. So you are encouraged to either send a copy, a certified copy of this document. And for bachelors, you are required, if you're going for individuals who already have their bachelors and are going for masters, you're required to have um statement of statement of results and also your bachelor's certificates. Now for individuals who are going for their for their PhD, you're encouraged to, as well as you should have your master's degree certificate and other things. I am actually studying a master's degree, so you should have your master's degree certificate already, and also some other maybe documentation, papers you've written, your test, your master's thesis, and the likes of them. So different schools have their different requirements, as I'll clearly say. So your school will definitely have a different requirement from another school. Now we'll move on to authenticating your documents. Now, generally, you're supposed to authenticate your documents by Ministry of Education of your country or Ministry of Youth and Sport. For Nigeria, what works for us is Ministry of Education, and Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So that's what works because, of course, Ministry of Education is in charge of you studying in the country. So they have all details of different schools which you must have studied in your country. And also Ministry of Foreign Affairs, you're trying to go abroad. So they should be able to know that this school which you studied in your country has what it takes and is qualified to issue out certificates that will go outside the country, so you don't go and represent them in a wrong way outside your country. So you should have these documents all verified and all authenticated, and also you should have your document notified, notified, yeah, by a notary public, a lawyer. I knew about the word on only when I was applying for my study here in Czech Republic. So this is not the case for most people applying for different other schools or other countries. I think it's a whole different procedure. Yeah, so that being that, you need to get all this, and also you need to get your documents um verified in the Czech in the Czech embassy as well in your country, or whichever your country uses. For Cameroon, I think they use that of Nigeria, and also I think some other neighboring country as well. And Ghana, I think some other neighboring countries close to Ghana use Ghana's embassy as well. Talking about stories of friends who had to come to Nigeria to do their visa interview, they gist for another day. So I feel for them that they don't have embassies in their countries because, come on, it's a whole stress. Yeah, some have to come via flight, some have to come via boats, and some have to come via the road. So it's extremely stressful for them. Yeah. So then, after the admission procedure, you send your documents over. For some schools, they require that you send your documents over, as I've said earlier on. Then you pay your fees. That is after you must have scaled through your admission processing. You pay your school fees. Also, not all schools require, before now, not all schools used to require that you pay your school fees before you come over. Some schools would require that you come over, then you pay your school fees. And different schools have different procedures of paying their school fees. Some schools, you pay your school fees once a year, while some schools you can split it 2 or 3 times. So it's all depending. And also some schools you pay per semester. So before you kick off with all these procedures, you actually have all this information at hand because it will help a whole lot. So you pay your school fees, then as well you pay for your accommodation because you're coming to a country and you expect it is for Czech Republic, it is more important that you actually pay for your accommodation than you pay for your school fees because you need to have an address. You need to have an address. So for some schools where you don't need to pay for your school fees first before you move into Czech Republic, you need to pay for your accommodation first. There needs to be a verification. The embassy doesn't take it lightly. You need to verify that yes, there is an address you're going to. Unlike the UK, where you can, you know, just go to maybe stay with a relative or so, you need to have an address that has your name attached to it. It is a must, as much as I know, anyways. So, as I said earlier on, before now, some schools will request that you come before you pay your, like come into Czech Republic before you pay your school fees, while some request that you you pay your school fees before you come into Czech Republic. But these days, most schools request it. The thing is, the admission process, the, is becoming a little bit more challenging because more people are knowing about Czech Republic before now, and quite disappointing. Some people are messing up the reputation of their countrymen here. So whatever you do here affects people that are coming. That's why I encourage people to always be in their best behavior, because so many people will suffer for your carelessness or your inactions. Talking about some people who do not pay their school fees, whose schools do not require that they pay their school fees before coming here, and when they get in here, they decide to, not report to the school or something. It's quite unfortunate, but it's a gist for another day. So that being said, after you pay for your school fees, you pay for your accommodation. If your school requests that your accommodation must be paid, request that your school fees must be paid for, but accommodation is extremely important. So you pay for your accommodation. When you pay for your accommodation, those two documents will be sent to you, talking about confirmation of accommodation and also confirmation of your school fees. Now you're required to take these documents amongst other documents to the embassy when you get your visa interview date. Now the next is you getting your interview date. It's it's getting more interesting by the day. Yeah. Before now, your school will nominate you for visa interview dates, depending on what country you are coming from. But now, I heard that your school would not nominate you again. You would have to apply. So the process, so before now, we had two options: applying every month, and as well applying your school applying on your behalf. So now you have like two windows, but now you only have one, which is you applying yourself. So how it is done at the 15th of every month, when the check time is the same with Nigerian time, you send every at exactly 8 o'clock there. So you all you need to do is have your details, your name, your phone number, your email address as a message, then attaching to the email your passport, your international passport, and I think your school fees, your confirmation of studies, yes, and also your accommodation confirmation. Around this document, you'd have to send an email to the embassy's email address. So we could have over 30 individuals, 100 individuals, I don't know, trying to make sure their emails get into the email inbox of the embassy. So if your email gets in first, it's not like a lottery system, as I said at a particular time. So if your email gets in, get becomes like the first three individuals, first 10 individuals, first 30 individuals, first 15 individuals. I don't know what metrics they use in deciding who gets an interview date. However it happens, then if you're lucky enough, you get it. It's crazy, right? It's quite unfortunate. That's the system now. Yes, so that's just it. Some individuals, they try it once, they try the first month, and look, they get in and they get an interview date. For some people, they have to try over and over and over a period of time. But what's the harm in trying? Some people have been lucky, some people, so many things determine how fast your email gets into their inbox. So it could be your the speed of your internet, it could be the speed your phone, the kind of phone you're using, and you know your time. Your timing is extremely important. So you cannot send earlier than 8 o'clock, because if you send earlier than 8 o'clock, of course the system will automatically take you out. So you have to send at exactly 8 o'clock. that's been that. So when you get your interview date, the next thing is your interview proper. Now, when you get your interview date, you're required to go to the embassy with some documents, which includes your statements of your account statements, a visa or a Mastercard. I'll give you guys a gist about my first. Man. I'll give you guys a gist about my experience with a Visa card. So it's a gist for another day. So that's being done. You get all these documents and you proceed. Yes, you get your account statements. Usually, you should have over the period of time, over a period of 4 months. 4 months, 4 months is safe. 3 months, 4 months. But I encourage you, have an account statement that joins your 4 months transactions together. Uh, so so you just be, you understand, on the safer side, and also the embassy will know that yes, this person has the finance to take care of Qatar for themselves when they go to Czech Republic. Yeah, and also something just skipped my mind right now. Um, and oh yeah. Then about the money, um, it's safer when you have over 5 million naira, because naira keeps going down. So when you compare it to dollar and the conversion rate, it's you understand what I'm saying. So 6 million is a fair one. If you're during this period, you should know how you should be able to get it. Yes, what kept my mind was Czech Republic specifically would only I'd encourage you to make sure the statement is actually yours, not for a sponsor. So whoever is going to sponsor you, so let them have the money in your account, or however they want to do it, and don't go borrow money from microfinance bank or money lenders. Let the funds be funds either from family members or so who are sponsoring you or who are aiding you in moving to Czech Republic. And once your interview is done, you should get your results in 1 month's time. For some, except on rare occasions, or not even on rare occasions, except on some occasions, because some people have had their response delayed for over 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. So that's been that. The last point is, wait, would you take this time out to please go to the subscribe button and click, and also like this video to help the algorithm always pick me out and have other people who might need this information see this video. So I'll wait for 2 seconds and we're back. Yeah. So I think that was the last thing. I just tricked you, don't mind me. I think that's the last thing. That's the last information I have. I would definitely still share information I left out, or that I might not have delved in trying to put this video together. I'm trying to make sure this video is not too long, so it doesn't bore you out, or so I don't have a part 2 of it. So I think these are like the major. I think these are like the major things you need to have an idea about. Yeah. So on my next video, I'll talk about schools in Czech Republic, and also schools that are still open for admission and the likes of them. So thank you very, very much for always coming by. I really, really appreciate. Catch you on my next video. Bye.